We'd like to apologize on behalf of Ozark Airlines.
Except verify.
Yes, sir.
We can keep it to just one question at a time. It'll be best.
One question?
Right.
Slow down.
Right,
Slow down,
yeah.
please.
Otherwise, it'll get crazy.
Here you go. Chalk. You can illustrate it. Chalk. Thank you very much. So good.
Oh.
Yeah, could you name a couple minis or a couple clicks? Just public figures, prominent public figures.
Well, I don't know if we want to get ourselves in that much trouble. Initials.
What works best about it is
JF.
All right.
what works best about it is that everybody can call everybody else ninnies and twists. They can all, they can all like. Everybody knows who they are.
Who? Go ahead. Oh, you can. Here's
Who's your musical influence? Who are they?
All the bad things you've ever heard growing up on the radio,
Elevator music.
supermarkets, TV. It just all goes in there, and you have to get it out. Exercise.
Are you still working with Chuck Sadler?
Yes. Yes, he works in a production capacity on all our video and film shorts.
There's several new ones that he worked on that will be at the concert tonight. He revealed.
Who does your hair?
Sassoon.
I guess that's all.
Who said that?
How is Chuck?
He's what? Excuse me, who, what? Did you vote for Reagan? Did we vote for Reagan? Voting's an irresponsible act.
You think the interest rate's going to come down soon?
It seems like, what kind of interest are you talking about? People's interest have certainly come down a lot. They don't seem to be interested in anything except possibly the past.
Would you define a spud or a spuddus?
Now, a person of common genetic background, slightly asymmetrical, no particular glamorous appearance. Now, the parents usually aren't very important. You can't distinguish him in a crowd. Oftentimes he wears earth colors.
There's 5 of them here.
Hi, Spud. Yeah, we're in on it with you.
How long do you think it'll take you to de-evolutionize the planet?
Actually, we're just trying to catch up. You can see that with the popular appeal of like REO Speedwagon, somebody mentioned that but they're much more in tune with the rate of de-evolution than we are. Unfortunately, I think we're only pointing it out. They are doing it.
Have you noticed that there is an influence of your music in other bands that are popular now?
Yeah, we've noticed that. I think I'm not the only one who would say that.
Yeah.
There's another band. Yeah, I mean, my people were busy putting us down for being clowns, being fascists, being robots. They were also busy copying all the licks and the style of delivery.
Jerry, have you seen Von Elmo yet?
I don't want to talk about Von Elmo.
Can you go through and say your name?
Oh, that's a good idea.
What you do?
That's a good idea.
What we do?
You mean it? Okay.
I'm Mark.
What do you do?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I work the chemotherapy radiation machines.
I'm Alan, and I play drums.
Bob what?
About 2. Make noises on the synthesizer.
And I'm Jerry.
What do you do, Jerry?
I play the bass, guitar, and bass synthesizer, and use my voice some of the time, but not as much as Mark uses his voice. Yes.
What's your response to the criticism that you're getting now from the new album, that you've gotten too cute and you're playing with the synthesizers and everything, you're getting de-evolutionized to the point where the synthesizers are taking command of Devo, and you're not doing the same thing that you did, say, on the first Be Stiffy tape, and coming out and being kick-ass de-evolution?
Well, first off, I think all you have to do is look at it and realize that we aren't getting too cute. I don't know. I think I'm talking for all
I
five.
hadn't heard that criticism. I mean, where did you read that one?
In the Baltimore Sun, that's right.
Yeah, well,
We're just here to do what we do, and if somebody, if the Baltimore Sun believes that, then, you have to decide for yourself.
Do you think your music's less complex than, say, like the first album that you put out?
less complex.
Yeah. It's more uncomplex.
No, actually, it's more complex. That's the problem.
What's the problem?
What in the history of Devo caused you to stop and take notice of all the ills in the world, as it were, and start singing about it?
Well, living in the Midwest ain't fairly easy. I don't think we did anything that a lot of people don't do everywhere. Maybe our application of it's a little different. But it's just that feeling you get, or certain people get, in every classroom, in every supermarket, that something's wrong. You can't stand the way people are behaving. You can't stand all the hippies eating Quaaludes and driving vans into telephone poles, the fat women beating their babies in supermarkets, the stuff that your parents in the church are telling you that is an insult to anyone's intelligence. And it just starts to all add up, and it reaches a breaking point, like a pimple.
So you're basically inspired by everyday society.
You could say that. And what's good about it is it's a never-ending supply.
I was wondering what new traditions we Spuds should take on to achieve your level of new traditionalism.
Specific application of new traditions.
That's what I'm looking for. Specific. What traditions you're looking for here?
Conscious mutation.
We are right. We were trying to suggest alternatives because we were getting fairly adept at pointing things out, but you must go beyond that. And that's when it gets more difficult because it involves an attitude or like a total, I don't know what you would call it, a system, a matrix for looking at information, because people keep coming up with the same conclusions because they have the same mentality. They seem to be amazed that they keep coming up with the same answers when it's hardly surprising given the way they think. And it's just that we were trying to change the mode of thinking about the same old things.
So you've created a new mentality?
Well, we're asking people to, and other people should create their own. We're not trying to create new traditions in that we would say that soon they'll become as inflexible as what people think of as tradition now. We're just, the only way you can explain to people.
In other words, we would have more in common. We would have more in common with Spock than Jerry Falwell. You see what I mean?
Mr. or Doctor?
Missy. What?
With Spock.
Star Trek Spock. Don't be silly.
When you return to Akron, Ohio, do you find it hard to go home again?
We haven't been home yet.
You haven't home yet?
No.
Is there any plan to return to Akron?
Only as a punishment. It was mutual. They were glad to see us go, and we were glad to leave.
No return to the 4th of July or anything? No homecoming?
Oh, no. No. At the demise of our record deal, I hear we'll be sent back there on a bus.
Right. Once we missed Thanksgiving dinner 3 years ago, Grandma said she was going to whip our butts.
Did she?
Where you at? Yes?
Could you specifically define new traditionalism and explain how it ties into the overall theory of devolution?
And
fine juncture of new and traditions. We were tired of the old traditions of probably the last 300 years. I don't know, the Industrial Revolution, the society, 20th century society that we grew up in, where people base it on exploitation of environment, exploitation of other people, hoarding information, basing it on guilt, work, sin, and superstition. A basic rape of the planet. We're tired of that. Those are traditions. You know, traditions are glossed over and made to look real desirable and decent. And, you know, they're not. We're talking about the underside of the holidays that everybody loves and reveres. That what goes along with it, we're not interested in repeating any longer. In fact, it's getting to a point where it's obviously too dangerous to repeat that anymore because it's not relevant to our situation on the planet. How it ties into de-evolution, it gets back to what Marx said about the difference between conscious mutation and letting yourself be mutated by circumstances. We'd rather have people like staying on top of it. We'd rather have people consciously make decisions to do something, you know, use their imaginations. I know that's imagination's become a pretty dirty word in corporate society, but it would be interesting to see people do it again.
How would you say your commercial success has influenced your music?
Well, I don't think it has. I mean, I think that Whippet was a hit, and it's obvious that it was a hit, but it wasn't a conscious effort, and it was a singular occurrence. That was an event that isn't at all a continuous thing with a past, and certainly not being repeated this time out.
How'd you get involved with heavy metal and working in a coal mine? How'd you do that?
As a complete joke. We were solicited. They said, we want soundtrack pieces for this animated film, heavy metal. And we were told that AC/DC and Van Halen and Black Sabbath and various other Blue Oyster Cult, you know, various other bands of the corporate feudal state would be on them. And we thought it'd be very funny to present in the middle of all that Devo's version of working in a coal mine in a kind of ridiculous low-grade outer space fantasy where nothing's changed except the backdrops and the clothes.
Right, just to kind of upset all these kids, all these heavy metal fans, and put it on, and then they'd have to listen to Devo for one song so they could get Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh well, even the best laid plans. Yes?
Yeah, Working in a Coal Mine was written by Alan Toussaint. He's sort of a tradition. Is he necessarily, he's done some pretty marvelous things. Is he?
Yeah, he has.
Is he bad or?
Yeah, he's bad.
That's a tradition right there.
I don't know about his personal politics.
Oh, no, musically.
Musically? Oh, I like it. That's why we covered it. Yeah, definitely. He bad.
He bad.
How serious are you when you support violence in terms of banging heads and stuff? Are you for that kind of violent change, or are you looking for more working inside the system to get rid of all the JFs?
Yeah, I mean, it is a ludicrous image in the inside of a parodic song structure, and it is a song on an album put out by a corporation, Warner Brothers. So I think that kind of answers your question.
In other words, we don't have the opportunity to advocate something like that, let alone wonder whether we're actually doing it. There's no teeth there anyway.
Yes.
Do you think musicians have any responsibility in respect to violence at a concert?
I've never seen musicians create violence at a concert. I've seen security aggravate the crowd when there was nothing going on and make violence where there needn't be any.
What feelings do you have about that?
I'm amazed at the docility of your crowd. It disgusts me. I mean, there's maybe 15 security guards and there's 5,000 kids, and if 25 kids each took one security guard, it'd be over. But they sit there dancing and grooving and watching their friends get the shit beat out of them and carted off out the side door, and it's kind of like a little microcosm of society.
Do you think the musicians have any responsibility?
It's difficult, yes. I mean, I think they do, but you're put in a position where you have absolutely no control over that. If you stop the concert and until that subsides, it could possibly work if you're an important enough group, but it usually works against you and is taken by a lot of people to be like a cheap, attention-getting gesture on the band's part. Yes?
Is it difficult for you to maintain control artistically of what you're doing at this point?
Well, it depends on what scope you're talking about.
Whatever you're interested in maintaining, I mean, to the extent that you're interested in controlling what you put out?
We try to do what we do well, but then what we do is subsumed within larger and larger structures. It's like if you walked into a prison and gave each guy in his cell a little white piece of paper and 2 crayons and said, do whatever you want. Be really creative, you know. He may be, but within the context of the prison, I don't know how much.
Well, for instance, the type of music or the album cover at any point.
Oh, yeah, that's the part we get to do. Like, hey, you can have it. As long as it's big.
Who do you listen to when you're during your free time?
We haven't had any for so long.
It's hard to answer, you know. I mean, I think you hear everything.
Well, who do you prefer?
I mean, like if I buy a record or choose.
Yeah. You spend some of your hard-earned money.
I don't know. Is anybody else?
We get a lot of tapes from kids at concerts that would just like hand us things that they did at home. And some of it's, you know, pretty bad, but some of it's real interesting. And a lot of the bands that we've ever gone out to see are bands that don't even have record deals. Like the Fibonacci's from L.A. that they sound kind of like Italian soundtrack music.
Yes.
What do you want for Christmas?
New traditions.
Could you each name your favorite sex symbol?
Penis.
Yoni.
What'd you say?
I'll double that.
Yoni. Yoni. Y-O-N-I.
Maybe you have to draw that one.
Let's draw some sex. Here's Jerry. It doesn't look like that, I guarantee. McDonald's understands pretty well this concept.
Now you're going to break off into a new art form?
That's the oldest art form known. The one most often blasphemed and screwed up.
Warner Brothers promised us a box of charcoal and pencils when we lose our contract.
No, I met Mark there, but not all of us went there. Yes?
How did you enjoy working with Eno?
It was an important meeting for the time. It wasn't necessarily something that we wish to repeat.
Do you ever do any performances outside of the band, like just with your friends or something like that? Small places?
It's been known to happen.
Didn't you have a show up in New York, British music hall on Halloween?
2 shows, yeah. Well, it was good. In the first show, people brought their parents along with them, and in the second show, they were so drugged out and stoned that they found it hard to get out of their seats.
Right, everybody had gotten psychodrops for Halloween on the second show. They were all kind of jello states.
What were you dressed up as?
Devo. Every day's Halloween for us.
I know it's been good to you. What's your true opinion of American commercial radio?
You think it's been good to us?
Well, this was other artists who time period the first album.
You're kidding.
It's a big evil machine, and we happen to crack it one time, and we want to do it some more so that we can destroy it.
They misunderstood Whip It, and that was it. So they let it be played. Other than that, they haven't played our songs on the radio.
How was it misunderstood?
They thought it was about dirt.
Popular American themes, beating off and sadomasochism. That's what made it a hit.
Did you subconsciously link into that, or was there is a certain amount of tongue-in-cheek?
No, in all truthfulness, we were writing a can-do self-help song in the style of Thomas Pynchon. Okay.
What's in store for us tonight? Are you going to pretty much stick to what you've done, or are you going to try something else? And also, do you like playing the colleges?
Yes, we do like playing colleges, and what's in store tonight is we have a lot of coordinated movements, calisthenics, syncopation, slide lecture, a lot of educational information from General Boyd.
And the 4th show in 3 days. So.
Yes.
Corporations seem to be a major target for you. How much do you attribute to corporations in terms of how much damage because of the conglomerates?
Oh, we don't really blame corporations. We're just pointing out the fact, the reality. They're like medieval castles with drawbridges. It's what people want, isn't it? Corporations are not human entities. They're manned by humans who agree to do it that way. Blaming we wouldn't be so silly as to blame corporations. It is, it's an easy word to say, and it does define an entire structure and bring a lot to mind. But it more than anything, it just is a giant reflection of a mentality, an important mentality.
So you don't see any concrete targets as much as you do a sort of mentality that just permeates everything?
That's right. That's the target. That's that's the source of World War III, not nuclear bombs, but the human mind. Yes.
Do you think there's any hope for us college students, or are we totally lost?
Can we still help you? Please help us. My room's 427 at the Holiday Inn.
You got any plans? Plastic explosives?
No, obviously I don't think being in college, out of college, whatever age or whatever economic background or whatever has anything to do with it, because all the cliches about, college students or youth fixing problems are, they're disgusting to hear, because most people grow up to be the same kind of pig their parents were. The society roughly breaks down generation to generation in the same proportions.
How do your parents feel about you these days?
I wouldn't know. I really don't. We've reached detente, Yes?
With your current popularity, do you feel that a lot of your fans have become what you intend to parody?
I don't know if they've become that, or if they always were that, or how many I can say are, or whatever. It's, you try to very clearly put out what you intend to put out, and then what happens to it afterwards is obviously beyond your control. I wouldn't deny it's possible, what you're saying. Probably.
You think the continued devolution could possibly have a nice side benefit and it could lead to revolution?
Revolution? You mean like Civil War?
Like a society, nice thing like that. Anarchy.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is I think the people in power are making sure that they create a situation that will break itself down. You needn't have a counteractive force. The problem becomes how to capitalize on the self-devolving process that they've set up. Yes?
I can see that from what you say, you really have no specific target for de-evolution in general. But how would you say there's obviously a gap? There's some people that your music probably just isn't going to reach. I know my mother hates it, for one. What kind of plans do you have for a widespread effect? It seems to me that it's targeted right now to a relatively small group.
That's true. That's true. That's why it's always ludicrous when we're accused of going mass and commercial and having a mass audience that is mindless lemmings as much as Van Halen or AC/DC has one of those types of audiences. You know, those are like irrelevant criticisms to Devo. Just in statistics, we probably play to less than 1/2 of 1% of the population, if that.
You're counting on them pretty much, in other words.
Right, we are dealing with a minority. We're dealing with people that don't have mainstream, programmatic, cliched viewpoints. That's right.
How deep a social impact do you really have? And has your opinion of that changed from when you first started out?
I don't know. There's pockets of evolutionaries everywhere, you know, and putting ourselves in the position we put ourselves in, it's exciting just to, you know, to find a few here and there in every city, just to know that it's not totally isolated.
Are those things comfortable?
Oh, absolutely not. They make big creases in your forehead.
Mark, you give us Mark.
Cool?
What is cool?
It's like, I'm a potato and I'm so hip. It's those people.
I thought of treadmills.
That was actually something we thought of in 1975 and we could never afford. So this was the first chance we ever had to actually acquire treadmills.
Where's Boogie Boy?
He's resting. I mean, Boogie, you know, takes a nap. Yeah.
Will he be there tonight?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Are you guys having fun at this point in your career? I mean, with the music and on the road?
Boy, are we. We're so much fun.
One more question. Right there. Okay. Yeah, is a de-evolutioner a doer or just a watcher? Are you making a statement or are you actually trying to get something done?
A good spud is a doer.
We have altruistic genes.